That's you can't see it. I see it. You cannot tell how awesome it is. I'll take another picture later. But I'm recording.
I'm streaming.
Oh my god.
Oh, right. Recording.
I haven't been on a live stream in so long. I've been so depressed. I haven't had the energy to stream.
There we go.
Streaming is hard, man. Or getting the energy to stream is fucking hard.
Yep.
I've wanted to stream though. When I got back from vacation, I was like, I'm gonna stream every day, and every day I got close to the time I was gonna stream. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna fucking watch Netflix. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I don't have a fucking schedule. I'm not a fucking affiliate or a partner. I'm not obligated to do shit. Fuck y'all.
Mm-hmm. So I saw that Nintendo just posted something about how the Labo VR kit is going to be supported in Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild.
That
seems pretty newsworthy. Like, that's pretty cool. But there's not really any information about like what's different. It shows like for Mario, it shows that there's like new challenges inside the worlds, but it's still just like I guess you're playing the game and be like a person or anything. You're just running around the world with the VR goggles on.
Yeah.
It looks like it's just a thing you toggle to turn that mode on, and then you're playing Zelda in VR. Like again, it's not first person.
Yeah, it's not the same. You know what I realized? Having almost 200 hours and almost 300 hours in the Breath of the Wild, you don't swim in that game. Like, I'm talking about like underwater, and it weirds me out now for some reason.
As well as all the games, you don't swim underwater.
I mean, there's sections where you go underwater. Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, you don't. But it just felt now. I didn't think about it.
The original, you don't.
No.
Like, well, it's Awakening you do, but it's like
it's more of a 3D thing. It's more of a 3D thing. But like I don't know, like
Wind Waker you don't.
Wind Waker's all fucking water. Fuck that game.
Fuck you.
What? I'm just saying, there's tons of examples.
Wind Waker's fine. It's just not my favorite Zelda game. Okay. Wind Waker is perfectly fine. It's okay. It's a very mediocre Rush Zelda game.
I'm gonna slap you when I see you.
That's fine.
Same.
And you'll know exactly why.
This is for Wind Waker, bitch!
He just doesn't say anything. He just slaps you before he says anything. Okay, now I can talk.
No, I'll just slap him and then go back to Canada.
Worth it.
Then get on Twitter. Yeah, I met Ben.
Yeah, real cool guy.
It'd be like that. What is that? That we'll be right back memes. Like I go, hey Thomas, what's up? And he slaps me.
I pictured him more like the Batman and Robin meme.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, I'm
Low.
Yeah, I'm recording. I've been recording.
Yeah. I was the first one to do it.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Charge Shot Gamescast. Each and every week, friends gather around and talk about things going on in their lives and games that they possibly have played. Today, I have with me Justin.
I've played games.
And Lo, did you play a video game?
Yeah, I played a video game.
How about you?
You played at least 2 video games.
Ben, did you play any video games while you were gone?
Does Dead or Alive Extreme Volleyball 3 count?
Wait, there's a 3?
Yeah, that's the controversy. That's the controversy. I didn't play that. Yes, I did play video games.
Yeah, so let's start off with the usual Justin.
What about the unusual Justin? Anyway, yeah, I haven't played much. Like, I did play video games. I didn't lie, but I haven't played much. Mostly I jumped into some Borderlands. The second one with Lo, or was that last week? I don't know. It's been a blur.
That was this week, I think. Yeah, that was this week.
I remember like we talked about it last week, but I couldn't really remember like when we played. Yeah, we did some Borderlands fun because this is only one we both have, and then I streamed some. That's it. Yeah. Not very long, just kind of like as a test of like, you know, the quality and stuff.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah. And I got that looking pretty good, so I think I'm actually ready to start streaming once I figure out a schedule.
Cool. It's a good.
It'll probably be weekday nights, so I have to decide like what night like I can, and can actually be like somewhat functional. Because sometimes like I get home from work and I'm just like, nah, I'm not doing anything tonight. So I need to find a night that like I'm least likely to be lazy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But technically, I think everything is good now, so that's exciting. And then aside from that, I pretty much just played. I started up a new game of Pokemon Heart Gold.
You too?
Oh, you did that too?
Well, Soul Silver.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had Soul Silver before, but now I got Heart Gold. I've had the ROM of it for a long time. Actually, I think I own it too. I might own Soul Silver. I can't remember. But every time I tried to start it up, it would like crash right around the time when you get the egg from Mr. Pokemon. Like it would freeze, or like the graphics would go crazy, or whatever. So like I would just give up, and because it's kind of a slow start to that game. And this time I finally I tried a different emulator. There's a newer version of the DS emulator that I use. I can't remember what it's called. DESMUME. How do you pronounce that? Decimume. I don't know. Better graphical coding and things like that. So like it can actually run everything at like 720 to 1080, which most DS games aren't that good looking, but they are better looking than the DS can handle. That's for sure. So it's kind of fun to run them at like 3 or 4 times the graphical resolution, because some things look pretty slick. Yeah. They look like almost 3DS quality and some. Pokemon not so much, because it's a lot of 2D animated sprites, but it kills some of the jaggies and stuff in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know if it's the new emulator or what, but for some reason it was working mostly okay. So I've actually been playing quite a bit of it. I'm about 2 gyms in. Occasionally I'll get a graphical stutter. Like I had to change the settings a little bit because I went into the dark cave, like the first cave you come into where you need flash, and I used flash, and like it lit up the cave, like it shows the little the circle around your character where you can see, and then it just the whole screen went black.
Oh.
So I was like, okay. So I left the cave, and everything was back to normal. I'd go back into the cave, still black. So like basically flash, like the way that the the layers of the game make flash work wasn't rendering in the emulator. So I had to change the graphical settings in there so that I could get my flash to actually register in the game, so that I could explore that cave, which was super awkward. Sometimes I'll get like a weird graphical stutter where like I'll leave a combat and come back, and like the character model is like just a random like block of different graphics. And all I have to do is like I go into the menu, save, reset, reload my save, and it's fine again. So it's a it's a minor inconvenience, but man, I forgot how much I love that generation. Like it just one of my friends has been also playing through Gen 1, like the actual like original I think Red on the 3DS, like the eShop version that they put out. And he was talking about how rough Gen 1 was originally. Like we all remember it fondly because it's what we had growing up, but like there's no balance to that game.
Pick a psychic Pokemon, you're good for the rest of the journey.
Yeah, basically. Like it's super easy to break. The missing no cheat is still in that eShop version. All kinds of stuff. The special physical break wasn't in there yet. There wasn't, Dark and Steel to kind of even out some of the typing advantages, and move powers all over the place, and a lot of the sprites look ugly. Like you can't really tell what any of the Pokemon are. And we only remember what they look like because we know more about them now. But back then, it's like, pff,
right?
Who knew? But yeah, so Gen 2 improved on everything. Like I still remember playing Crystal, like when it first came out, back in, what was that, Ben? Like 2001?
Possibly.
You know?
I think so. Yeah, because Pokemon Gold and Silver originally like 2000, so it must have been 2001.
Oh, I thought it was like 99 because we actually got Pokemon Red and Blue in like 98, but they came out in 96 in Japan.
It might have been like 99, 2000. It's
Gold and Silver were actually announced before we got Red and Blue. So there wasn't that much of a gap between those two gens for us. But yeah, it might have been 2000. You're right. But anyway, Crystal was like the first time they had animated sprites and things like that. Like it really was revolutionary. And I didn't have a Game Boy Color, so I got Crystal on my Game Boy Advance, and played the crap out of it. But I think the improvements, like adding in the abilities and things like that from the remakes, Soul Silver and Heart Gold, add a lot to the games. I personally don't like abilities. I thought Gen 3, like a lot of the changes in Gen 3 kind of ruined Pokemon. I stand by that to this day. And I think that the changes to second gen, like, adding the eggs, the new typings, just kind of general balance stuff was kind of the prime time to play because it wasn't too complex, but like there was more depth to it than Gen 1 had. But it is nice. I don't think I could go back to the old games with how much things have changed, 7.5 generations later. But it's so good. Like some of my favorite Pokemon, like I finally ran into a Mareep. I was like, man, I love this little electric sheep.
Did you know that
it's like the coolest design
in Crystal for some reason?
It's not?
Mareep's not in Crystal, so don't play Crystal for that version, for that purpose alone.
I don't remember that. I probably traded it in, into the game because I had people that had Gold and Silver. But yeah, I don't remember that. Although usually, like, I'll get Mareep, and then sometimes, like, whenever I get later in the game, I'll fish for a Chinchou, and that becomes my electric type. Because it's water and electric, so it's a little more diverse. But most of the time, I stick with Mareep because he's so cool. But yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much all I got. And I did on the Borderlands front, get the enhanced version of Borderlands 1 Wednesday and jumped into that a little bit. It's real. I played the original just kind of like to compare real quick. So that I could have it fresh in my mind when I booted up the game again. And I started up a totally new character, which was the same as the character I made for the regular Borderlands 1, because that's the character I wanted to play. I didn't know I'd have to start over with the enhanced version. And then I got like up to level 4 or something like that, and Thomas goes, "Oh, you could have imported a character."
Oh.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, I would have created a different character in the enhanced version and then just imported my other character in that was at the same level with the same stuff.
Yeah.
But instead I have two of the same characters, so there's no point in importing her. Made me so mad. But it's my fault for not paying attention. But yeah, there's a lot of like huge quality of life improvements with that. And it's just really pretty. But like the mini map, the fact that you just pick up ammo and health and money and things like that drop from enemies and stuff, like huge differences.
Yep.
You can tag things as junk, which I don't think you could even do in 2 or pre-sequel.
No.
And because when me and Lo were playing Borderlands 2, we were talking about kind of the clunky inventory system in that game, and 1's is even more clunky, but they've actually made a lot of improvements to that. Because it still doesn't like order things in the order you get them, so it can be kind of confusing when you pick stuff up and you're trying to remember like what you picked up versus what's already in your inventory. But tagging things as junk that you already have means anything that's not junk is new, so it kind of helps to like even out that clunky system a little bit at least. But then tonight before the podcast, me and Thomas and Lo all jumped into a game together, and just to kind of try out the new like 4-player or 3-player in this case co-op in that game that they expanded it to. And I mean, it's really fun, but we all have good internet. Like, there's no problems right now.
Yeah.
Well,
but that was
I did lose my internet at the end of our game session.
true,
so
and you were hosting.
And I was hosting, so there
I
could
forgot
have
about
been,
that.
Yeah, it could have been an issue with that. I don't know. We could try it again.
That's true.
Yeah, I could host because I have very good internet now.
Yeah.
But it was clunky. Like, it was there was a lot of lag.
Yeah.
There was one point when I was trying to gather up a bunch of ammo, and like just standing there at like the the kind of weapon ammo treasure chest thing, it like lagged me over a little bit, and it ended up holding on a weapon that I didn't want and swapping my weapon out on accident.
Because I was
like, how does it?
I was actually at that same chest as you, and I ran in and I took all the ammo, and then you complained about your gun. So I might have just stole all the
That's
ammo.
what it was.
And then you picked up the gun.
Maybe, but it lagged me
was.
over. Like, I was just standing still, and it still lagged me over.
Yeah, so that's okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments of just like choppiness, and like I would try to melee, and I'd hit the melee button, and then like a second or two later, she'd go, "Yeah!" Like there was no timing at all on that. So I just stopped meleeing because it wasn't helping. Like, by the time I would melee, they would be dead.
I wouldn't. I never melee in that game unless I'm using my super. I feel like meleeing.
I like melee.
Yeah. All right.
Well, for one, hers is kind of like a wave out. I was playing as Lilith.
Okay.
So it's actually a pretty good melee.
All right.
But also, I just like doing it. Like whenever things get up in my grill, kind of alternate like pop melee, pop melee, just to kind of weaken them down. Because when they're that close to you, like there's no point in shooting them unless you have a shotgun.
Yeah.
Your melee is going to do more damage at that point.
I like the good old fashioned back up and shoot. That's my style.
Yeah, backpedal.
That's fair.
Yeah.
If I was part of this, I'd probably be like running, gunning in, and dying multiple times. Like, guys, I need healing. Okay, but whatever you do, don't go out. Ah, and then I'm in there.
That was low.
Oh, okay. Well, Lo, you and I can die in places of glory together.
You guys died just as much as I did. Whatever.
I don't know. It seemed like you were down a lot.
Yeah, and then later on, you guys went down a bunch. And there was some powerful enemies. Especially that one guy we tried to fight at the end. What was it, Bonehead, I think?
Well, he was like 3 levels above us. So.
Bones.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think it was.
I also kept running into badass enemies too.
Mm-hmm.
I would like stop. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pop a couple of skags, whatever. The next thing I know, there's like one with glowing eyes, and it's all menacing. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I drove my my vehicle too far and just like ran into because I was trying to finish up our quest for roadkill, and so I like kept driving until I found enemies, and then I tried to run over one, and this like badass shock skag that was like level 17 just like rammed into my vehicle, immediately killed me, and everyone else was gone because I drove away. So I was just sitting there, like, shotgun blasting this enemy that was way too strong for me, just, like, accepting death.
Yeah.
It's like, here, let's prolong the inevitable with some ammo waste. But that's still a really fun game. I'm glad that I get another chance to jump into it. Because I do want to play through all of them in order. Especially, Borderlands 3 is crossplay, but I would probably, I would get it on PS4 because I don't have an Xbox, unless it goes on the Windows Store, which I seriously doubt. And PS4 probably doesn't have crossplay. I imagine it's between Xbox and PC.
Not. Yeah.
So I'll probably just wait the 6 months for the exclusivity to end, and then, play Borderlands 1, 2, and the pre-sequel in the meantime.
That's fair.
Not that big a deal to me. So it gives me time to do that, which will be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. And the rest of my week has been fairly boring. It's actually kind of quick. Like, this feels like it was a really quick week. Part of it's because we're doing this on Thursday, so like it hasn't been a full week. But I don't really recall doing anything like story worthy. So yeah, this week's kind of just blown by. Which I'm okay with.
We talked about how if you felt like today was Friday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure. Lo, what have you been up to? I heard that you had to change a tire or something.
Well, yeah, that's oh boy, yeah, that's my first little anecdote here because it was a doozy. after the oh my gosh, I think someone's gonna break into my house store. I need to have something else that's just as interesting, right? So I'm at home just chilling, right? And Tanya calls me and she's really upset. I'm like, what's going on? What's wrong? She's like, oh, I have a flat tire. I'm like, no, because she works. And so basically, we live in Las Vegas, and she works in Prim. And it's a good 30, 40-minute drive through just desert for the most part. So it was maybe the last maybe third of this commute, she got a flat tire. And it sucked because it's just desert. And there's no like lights or anything like that other than like the lights from like the cars zooming by that are driving way too fast most of the time. So she was freaking out a little bit, and I was like, oh crap, like what do we do? What do we do? Like, because so I went to go check and see, because we don't have roadside assistance right now because it just expired for her car because she was leasing it or whatever. That aside, I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna come out there and I'm gonna try and change her tire. Hopefully that'll just be that. So she unfortunately she had to wait for me while I drove all the way out there because it wasn't just like a straight deal either, because it was the freeway. It's basically just like 2 lanes going one way, or 3 lanes going one way and 3 lanes going the other way. It's just there's no, and like it basically had to drive like past her because she wasn't like near an exit or anything. I had to drive past her to the next exit, which was like another 10 miles down, and then I had to get off at that exit, turn around, drive back up. I got to her eventually, and like she was upset. Naturally, like I don't blame her at all. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm going to grab the jack, grab the spare. I'm going to change this tire. Like, no big deal. So then, here's the thing about the side of the road here. There wasn't like an emergency like lane. There was like a really thin like strip of like, just like asphalt or whatever, like on the side of the freeway. But it wasn't like enough space to like change a spare safely. So she pulled over like off the freeway, which is just like dirt, just like loose packed dirt. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe this will work out. Maybe this will be fine. Maybe it'll be okay. So then I get the jack under, I jack the car up. And then like, as I'm like grabbing the tire iron, thankfully I wasn't near the car or anything. It just like the jack, it shifted in the dirt. And then like, so the whole car just like went like a good couple of feet like to the right. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not doing that. So then Tanya went on her phone looking for a tow service, just one that was nearby, one that was open, and she was just looking for not to like pay like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. We're trying to pay as little as possible, right? So she found this one. It was called Larry's tow truck service. Larry's, remember that name? Larry's is the name of this tow truck service. Because
Randy's?
First of all, Larry's. Man, I wish it was Randy's. I wish it was Randy. Just give me another reason to hate Randy. I'm gonna like call it Randy. I'm gonna say Larry's, but I'm gonna say Randy's in my mind. So she calls. First of all, she called like another tow truck service first, and she got a quote from them. So then she called Larry's. Unfortunately, we ended up going with them because they gave us a quote that was like $60 less than like the first one. So I was like, okay, fine, cool. And then he's like, yeah, we'll be out there. We'll have a guy dispatched out there in like an hour. He's just finishing up with like another like thingy mission or whatever the hell it is. Tow truck drivers call it. And he'll be there in an hour. Okay, cool. So hour goes by. Then like hour and a half goes by. Tanya's like, where is this guy? I'm going to call. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to call my driver and see where he's at, blah, blah, this and that. So like another hour goes by. Basically, we were waiting for this guy for like 4 hours, right? And it's like, what else are we gonna do, because we didn't want to just leave her car there on the side of the road, because then that's just no, you can't do that. So we just kept waiting, and then finally the dude shows up, and then so he gets her car. It was a flatbed, so he got her car up on the flatbed, and then so we had him take it to a tire shop so we could. They were closed at the time, so we just go back there in the morning like, hey, can you fix this flat for us, whatever. And then so we get to the tire shop, the drop-off location. And then this is when, so sorry, before that happened, Tanya was looking up reviews on the phone. Hindsight, we probably should have done that before, but we were just looking for like the cheapest thing possible, whatever. So then there were just like some pretty bad reviews saying stuff about like fraud and things like that. How like they're like, oh, we don't have like a card reader, we can't run a card, so we'll just take your information. Then they end up doing greasy shit with your card information. So like just after she read that, we get to the location, we get out of the car, and then he's like, oh, so you're gonna pay cash, right? And then she's like, so it ended up being like $260, right? So then she's talking to the dude, she's like, who just has that much cash on them? Just like what like why are you expecting me to pay cash? Can you not take a card? He's like, no, we can't take a card because we don't have like a card reader or whatever. I'm like, please, there's so many ways to take a card from a smartphone.
2019, man, get a card.
Yeah,
there's ways. I'm like, this is stupid,
square.
Right? Exactly, right? So he had no other way of taking payment. He's like, oh, well, I could take your card information, this, that, blah, blah. And then she's like, no, that's not an option. So here's what ended up happening. So we ended up driving to an ATM, and the tow truck driver dude ended up following us to the ATM so that we can pull out the cash and pay him so that we could get our car back, pretty much. So that was annoying. We got home at like 4 a.m. She had to work at like 6. I had to be up because I had this job at a house I was working. So it's like neither of us got any sleep because we were just irritated. So it's like, how you gonna sleep after that? I got maybe like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of sleep. No, not even. No, like maybe an hour. And then like I feel like as soon as I fell asleep, like Tanya was waking me up. I was just like, I have never been like so sad, you guys. Oh, I just got to sleep, and she was like, we have to get up and do life. I'm like, oh, why? So then I go to this house, and I go to this house I was working on, and it was basically, we're ripping up the old tile and then putting in hardwood floors. So man, that was a rough 8 hours of work. It was just all ripping up tile, and it was not easy. Man. Plus side, I got to use a jackhammer, so that was pretty fun. Because we went in, and this guy I was helping, normally when he does like tiles jobs like this and pulls up tiles, he's like, no, normally it's not that hard to get up, but for some reason, I don't know, maybe it was the type of adhesive they used or whatever, but it was just not coming up, because normally you can just kind of like just chisel the tiles off, but we ended up having to get a jackhammer and all that stuff, and it was fun to use, but damn, that thing beats you up. Like all those like vibrations and stuff. It's like I feel like I got a full upper body workout from just using that thing for a couple of hours. It was nuts. It was fun.
People on construction sites are supposed to, like, they're super regulated because they can get like burst blood vessels underneath their skin, and it causes a lot of damages later in life that they don't really realize in the moment. So they try to go like 8 hours on these things, and then that's 10 years into the job, they can't function anymore.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Now that you mention it, when I got home after that, I took off my gloves, and I was like, "Why are my hands all red? Holy crap!" Yeah. It's probably just from that damn machine. They were like super red. It was crazy. So, but yeah, I helped him finish up just all the demo stuff, and he was finishing up the hardwood flooring. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, so there was that. That was a cool story, and got a little bit of work in this week though, so that's cool. So games wise, I had been playing the original Borderlands, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, hopefully I can download it the morning of when it comes out, the 3rd. And it turns out I wasn't able to. So then I get home, I'm tired. Like, I've gotten like maybe an hour of sleep, and then plus I've been working for like 8 hours straight doing, I guess, construction, manual labor, let's call it that. Because I wasn't building anything. That's for damn sure. So I get home. I get in the shower because I'm just covered in dust. It was like it was gross. Like my hair was gray. That's how much like it was nasty. So I took a shower and just so then I'm like, oh yeah, Borderlands. So then I go downstairs and then I go into my Steam library and. So I go into my Steam library and it says Borderlands Game of the Year. And I'm like, oh, cool, that's it, Game of the Year. Yeah, let's go, let's get into this. Like, so then I was like, yeah, this would be great. So then I jump in and then I'm like, wait a minute, like, there's a lot of stuff that's supposed to be here that isn't. What's going on? I'm so confused. What is this? Like, I was legitimately like, I was like really close to just legitimately being upset. I'm like, did you guys screw me over? Like Gearbox, did you like? Are you just like, nah, we're just gonna like. Have this guy like have it say Game of the Year, but it's not actually going to be Game of the Year because we're just going to be dicks. Like,
where's my FOV slider, man?
I'm like,
well, what's funny is you thought that it was the right thing. You're like, man, so much better.
I did for a second, yeah. I was like, oh, like, and it was at first like I was like, oh yeah, it looks way better because me like being Mr. PC Gamer I had reshade. On Borderlands, so yeah, it did look better, but not because it was the remastered version. So then I look around because the way it was listed, it was just like Borderlands Game of the Year and then Borderlands 2 and then like other games. So I'm like, I don't understand. So then I restarted Steam and then boom, there it was. I'm like, okay, cool. So then I installed it and then I actually played it. I just did all like the beginning type of shit and. Yeah, the game does look a lot better. Now I can officially say that. Yeah, the textures are definitely up-resed, and yeah, it's a definitely better looking game. The UI is a lot better. It's just like it just looks better because before in the original one, it was just like your shield was just like a blue bar, I think, with a number, and then like red bar with a number. But like it looks a lot. It just looks nicer. It just has that. It looks a little bit more like the Borderlands 2. UI, yeah, I guess. But yeah, I also noticed because in the original Borderlands, when you're buying stuff from like the vending machines, it's like when you wanted to buy ammo, it's like you had to like, if you're playing mouse and keyboard, you hit enter, and it's like a little window pops up. Are you sure you want to buy this ammo? I'm like, yes. Like how do you like set this? Why do you set this up this way when people are going to be buying like multiples of this at a time most of the time? Anyway, so now in the vendor shops, it's just like you just click on it and you buy it. Just like in Borderlands 2. It's awesome. It's great. I love it. On top of that, I had my Shift account linked and all that, so I got the golden keys, so that's cool. I'm just gonna save them. I think I use like 2 of them just to see what comes out, and then I got a couple of like repeater pistols or something like that. So that'll be.
Don't you get like 64 of them or something?
You get 75.
Yeah, like a ridiculous number.
Yeah, so yeah, I got plenty. So I'm like, yeah, what's 2? Two's not gonna hurt.
Are those only for Borderlands 1, or do those carry over?
I don't know.
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Because they said they give them to you for playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that. But yeah. So on top of that, so there's additional legendary weapons in the game, and I actually got 2 of them just for starting a new character because I had my Shift stuff open. I had it linked. So one of them was a pretty cool. Well, first of all, both weapons as the manufacturer, it says Gearbox. So I thought that was a cool little touch because it's like, hey, this gun's special. Yeah. Gearbox, we love you. So I realized that actually the other weapon I have, the first one is like an assault rifle. It's called Mugshot. It's just like it's an assault rifle that has a chance to cause explosions. So jibs all day. The other one is actually called Baja's Bigger Blaster. So I guess it's like a beefed up version of like TK shotgun.
Not Mountain Dew cross promotion right there.
No, TK Baja. No, actually, never mind. You don't know Borderlands because you hate Gearbox. What am I thinking?
I hear Baja Blast. I'm like, that's fucking Taco Bell drink right there.
That is. I've delivered so many of those drinks, by the way. Working Grubhub, a lot of people order Taco Bell. It's kind of disgusting.
I would.
It's cheap and fuck it. It hits that run spot.
Yeah. You know what, too? Grubhub does this thing. They're like, hey, free delivery just for Taco Bell. Wink, wink.
Oh, man.
So
I wish. We don't have Taco Bell
delivery
awesome. Here.
We don't have Grubhub here.
Yeah.
Am I going to have to import Taco Bell when I go visit you, Thomas?
What?
Yeah.
Am I going to have to import Taco Bell just to visit you?
No, like I have a Taco Bell in the city, in the town I'm in, but
okay.
it's not on any of the apps that we have here.
That's
Really?
nuts.
And also, we don't have Baja
That's weird.
Blast, so I don't know what the hell that is.
That's weird.
So
It's a
wait,
shitty
are you
drink.
It's not.
so you're telling me
yeah.
Taco Bell is exclusive to Grubhub in the U.S., but not in Canada? That's garbage.
Taco Bells here are rare, by the way.
Are they?
Yeah, we only have
sad.
one in our town, and then the rest that you'll ever find them is in like malls.
Well, I was gonna move to Canada. Taco Bell's, what the fuck am I gonna do at 2 in the morning when I'm craving for something and need to go to the restroom 4 hours later?
I just want to point out that we started off talking about a shotgun. Now we're talking about Taco Bell. So
I mean,
that's
Taco
a
Bell.
nice little segue.
Taco
Have
Bell.
you
I
listened
like-
to
I
this
just like-
podcast?
That's the
No, I
feeling
just-
you get after you get Taco Bell when you go to the restroom. Shotgun it.
Anyways,
shot.
I enjoy that. Oh, gross. That was a fun little segue, but yeah. Borderlands Borderlands Game of the Year Enhanced Edition. That's what it is.
Make sure it
so if
says
you're not playing
enhanced.
that,
Yeah.
if you're not playing that, you're playing the wrong thing. Trust me, I know. I've been there. But I guess a lot of people got confused with that too. Because all the marketing and stuff said, "Oh, Game of the Year."
Yeah.
It's free if you have the Game of the Year edition.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, because I was like, how did y'all just bought a new game? Okay, but then I'm like, okay, this has to be it.
No, like it's $30 if you don't have that.
yeah.
But the old Game of the Year edition was going super cheap all over the place, just like PC digital download code.
Mhm.
So you buy the super cheap one, as long as it's before the 3rd, which obviously already passed. So we're talking about something you should have already done. As long as it's before that, then you're good. You just got it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're also updating 2 and pre-sequel later, like with just not doing all the same updates, but like updating them with 4K textures and HDR and stuff.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
cool.
don't think those have happened yet.
No, I don't remember the date, but it's gonna be later.
Yeah, because they jumped into 2 out of curiosity while I was waiting for 1 to download, and it didn't look any different.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Borderlands 2 is a good game. I like that game a lot. Like
It is.
It's like it's now that like the first one's been in remastered, it's kind of like a toss up for me. I'm like, I don't know which one I like more. I like them for different
Borderlands
reasons.
1, that's all I'm gonna say.
I don't see. I realized that Borderlands 2 is my 3rd most played game on Steam,
Oh,
so I guess I really like it. But I remember Borderlands 1 way more. Whether that means
yeah,
I
same.
Yeah.
liked it more is a toss up, but I remember it way more.
Borderlands 2 isn't bad. It's just I like the first one more. That's all.
I played the
Yeah.
first one with a friend. It was all right. And it was before the Gearbox hate began.
Yeah.
Before they became a weird company.
Well, I mean, it was always a weird company because Randy Pitch was there, but before they fucked up, before they allegedly took money from another game to make Borderlands 2.
Allegedly.
Yeah, yeah, fuck them.
Like the thing is, I remember Borderlands 2 for the town. Like that city area is super iconic. The Borderlands 1, like the whole map is iconic because there's not one place you always go back to.
Yeah, when I was playing it last night, like I booted it up and I'm like, oh fuck, it's the bus station. Like actually, first of all, oh fuck, it's the song and the bus.
Yeah.
And I'm just like having chills and like nostalgia feels. And then I'm like, just like, oh man, this is the bus station and going to Firestone. Oh man, like it was all nostalgia for me last night. I was having a huge nostalgia kick. But
Everything
also,
we've done so far, I'm like, oh man, I remember this part. Like, I haven't played that probably since the 360 days.
Yeah.
Because that's the last time I owned the game.
Yeah,
But
same.
10 years later, not 10 years. How long was that?
It's been a while.
Almost 10 years.
Yes.
Because I got it when it came out.
Ooh,
Almost 10 years later, it's still like just as fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
TK.
It's
I really do love
it's one of
that
those
series.
games for me that's just it's almost just as good as I remember it. Like now going back after playing 2, then I noticed like the other stuff that is now in the enhanced version. But up until that point, I was like, man, this game is pretty cool. I remember this game being awesome, and yeah.
The first Borderlands released in October 20th, 2009.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
So,
10 years.
almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and also I just like
Good
the skill tree more for the characters. Like like when I like Borderlands 2, but like I didn't really identify with the characters. I know like there's Zero in there for Justin, so he does. But for me personally, it's not like.
But even Zero, I don't really care about his skill tree that much. I just think he's a cool looking character.
Right.
But Borderlands 1 has a tighter skill set. Or like the skill trees are smaller, but it's like better abilities.
For Borderlands 3, I kind of hope that they bring back some of the like have all of the ones that we have before and then some new ones.
Yeah,
have it all
that would be cool. I would like that.
Have like a diverse characters instead of just picking from 4. That'd be pretty sweet.
I bet you.
I think it's only the 4.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, if they do that, it's going to be DLC like in 2.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
But it'll probably just be 2 new characters for DLC, just like they've done before.
Yeah, unless they want to get on
see that Borderlands 1 didn't have DLC characters. Like there's DLC packs for it, but there's only the 4 characters. That's it.
Yeah.
I guess I assumed there was others.
I was just I was gonna say if Gearbox wants to maximize or take advantage of this nostalgia kick, which has been now it's been rekindled by the remaster, they would I think it'd be really cool if they added like the characters or at least the classes, like the skill trees from Borderlands 1 and 2 as DLC. I would buy that. I'd buy it just to play as like the different characters. Like, oh cool, it's like old school but new school,
Yeah.
The new characters look really neat though.
I would like to see a better skill tree set though, because I don't really like that you have to like fill a skill like 5 points full before you get to move to the next row.
Like a tier,
Yeah, it prevents you from like kind of diversifying your skill set because it's like, okay, I have to pump 5 into this to go up to the next tier, and then I have to use one of these to pump 5 into to go to the next tier, and so it kind of keeps you on one track.
Yeah,
because you'd be like level 25 or so before you one set of the skill tree.
Right.
And that kind of sucks.
I was reading about Borderlands 3 that the Vault Hunters in this game are going to have multiple action skills. So
cool.
That sounds neat.
Cool.
I'm not sure what that entails, if they're actually going to have like actual like move sets like in a hero shooter. I don't know if like Borderlands is trying to like throw that sort of like element into the gameplay. I would be cool with that. That sounds like the perfect next progression. And that for me, that would be like that thing that would be like, oh yeah, cool. Borderlands, they still got it, because that was kind of something I was worried about before, is if they're going to come out with some new stuff that's going to impress everybody, or if they're just going to try and just rehash old things, because they can't necessarily afford to do that with all the looter shooters that are out today. So
I can see them having like a passive skill and then like an actual button trigger for your active skill, and then like a melee buff.
Sure.
Yeah. Because honestly, I hit the melee and I forget that it's not Destiny, where like it'll be stronger and then go to a cooldown. So it's always just like melee blast, melee blast, melee blast. But I think, oh yeah, I'll just do this once and then I won't melee, because that's how I play Destiny. I like melee focus and then start laying out bullets. So I think they could really benefit from looking at Destiny and how that's kind of changed the looter shooter in 10 years time. Yeah.
Destiny is definitely one of the better examples to look to, if not the best example.
It's definitely the market leader, or well, I don't know, you can argue it's a market leader. So Ben, what have you been up to?
Well, before I kind of disappeared for a couple of weeks, I had another first to 10 at Street Fighter V, which is probably the best first to 10 I had, because like I went ham.
I was there for that too.
Yeah, I was up 5-2 at one point, from what I remember. Like, I ultimately lost 10-8, which is like an improvement over 10-7 last time, so I'll take it as a win. It was still fun from what I remember. I'm gonna get better with that matchup, but so that was fun. But also, in the span of last time I was on here, and since I've come back, I've beaten Iconoclasts. That game, that's that indie game with another indie game that was developed by one person, I think. Warning: it is not a Metroidvania. There are Metroidvania aspects to it, but it is. I kind of hate how certain reviews are perpetuating that. Like, it's far from it. Like, it's not like the whole. Basically, Iconoclast is a game where you play as this girl. Her name's Robin. She's mute for story reasons, which I actually like the story reasons why she's mute. And basically, you're kind of living in this world that's oppressed by this not religious organization, but they're a religious organization, and they, and there's like a world, there's like a structure to the world, and basically, I felt having played this was a person, Joachim Soberg, I believe is the name. This is a person who had a story, and they wanted to tell a story, and this is the way they found to tell their story, and it's actually really interesting in how it tackles. Religious authority with belief and faith and interesting characters and very, very dark sense of humor. But its all point is to drive you forward. Never once did I felt the need to go back and look for stuff. You could, it's there if you want it, but it's never felt needed or hindered against it. There's some weird gameplay issues. Like there's this one of the worst things I hate about the game is that like, and this is only in hindsight, is that right before you go to one of the final areas of the game, you meet this guy, and he's like, you need to be stealthy because you have to be stealthy to get in this area, and you have to defeat him in a boss fight, and basically you have to hide in these specific spots for him to hit you because he's invisible, and you have to just keep hitting him and hitting him and hitting him, and if he spots you, he'll come up like run, bam, and you can't see him, and it was annoying. And the most bullshit part about that is that there was no stealth. I was just running gun the entire fucking way through. I'm like, what was the point of that segment anyways? Like, you wasted my time. But like, I think the ultimate, what I liked about it is the narrative. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect because it starts off like very cheery, very like, ha la 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 la. This girl is in the forest, in the caves, and she's destroying the creatures, like any other good indie game. But then like, and this is not a spoiler, this is like an opening scene of like how it sets the tone. She's basically a legal worker, not worker. She's an illegal mechanic, because in this world everybody's assigned a job, and it goes against the mother if you do go against the job. That's what this
weird
divinity this divinity thing is called. It's called Mother. It's actually well thought out. The world building in this game is actually pretty incredible for how small it is. It's actually like he does a great job of making it feel seamless, but also explaining things through like interesting dialogue. It's actually really cool. But like Robin and she's at her brother Elro's place, and Elro is constantly going off to has to work another place. His wife's not happy with it. They're arguing. So while Robin is fixing this thing, it's just she uses a wrench. It was her father's wrench before he was murdered before the game starts. And they're like having this awkward husband and wife talk. I'm like, why don't you? And it's just like, we've all been there, right? We've all been in those couple fights. And like, it got really dark at one point. And like, they're like basically everybody's trying to get into section 1, which is sort of like their holy land, where it's clean water, clean everything. And you only get there by being diligent to the mother, and if you commit sin, you get the penance. And penance isn't like the priest comes and besmirches you. No, the penance means you get your house blown up and you die. Yeah, like it's really dark. But like it's not a fun game. That's my only thing. If you want an interesting narrative with some fun boss fights, some really interesting characters, and a really great story building game, you might like it. On sale for $10, but don't go into this thinking it's going to be like, run and gun, Metroid kind of thing. There's some weird mechanics to it. It doesn't always click with me. There are some puzzles that I felt that were a little too extra than they needed to be. The boss fights were fine. It looks amazing from a sprite-based standpoint. It looks incredible. But yeah, I just feel like people need to stop advertising this as a Metroidvania. What else?
Is it an action platformer?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of. It's more like that. Action platformer with puzzle elements.
All right.
I wouldn't even call it a Metroidvania at all. Let's see what else.
It bums me out actually because I thought it was a Metroidvania and I was way more interested.
Yeah, it's not. It's very good, but it's okay. It's not good. It's interesting. Its story is very good. Its gameplay is very mixed at certain points. It's not perfect. You could tell this guy had a story to tell, and that took precedence over everything else. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It's a mixed bag, but the story is really top notch.
It's a mixed bag.
I've also been making a push to beat Tales of Vesparia, which I love this game. Like, and like. You hear about these series for so long, like what should I start? Everybody starts with Symphonia or this one, and like I love it. Finally hit that moment because it took a while. I was kind of getting concerned Because the first good, at least based on my time, 15, 20 hours, it kind of felt anime-esque, in which it felt episodic, where like you're constantly doing a thing, and then it ends, and then you're doing another thing, and then Estelle's whining about like, well, what should I go? Do I stay? Do I go? That happens a lot, by the way, so get used to that.
Do I stay or do I go down?
Pretty much. But it gets into real political intrigue and like corruption and a little stuff like that, and of course, it tackles some typical tropes you see in a JRPG, and then it fucking hit the twist. Like I just got to that point. I'm like, okay, now we're into the lore shit. Now I'm in. Now I'm fully in. Nice. Combat's still juicy as ever. And what I just discovered, and this isn't in the definitive edition, because these were not available in the Xbox version. You get special costumes, and you get them right out of the gate. You get them just by buying the game. There's actually extra costumes you can get if you do side quests, which I'll talk about that in a second. But like you get like cool looking costumes. You get like Namco costumes. Like you can make the main character Yuri look like the character Mitsurugi from Soul Calibur. You can make this guy named Raven look like Heihachi. There's a driller, Mr. Driller costume for this pirate lady, pirate girl. It's very fun. I love the characters. I love all the characters. I think that's what made me kind of push through that first 20 hours where it's not like you can tell there's an online current, but there's not like there's not like a goal we're getting to. We're kind of just going from thing to thing, but like just being around the characters, just Rita constantly being a smart ass and just smacking the shit out of Carol every now and then. Or just the banter back and forth and the growth of them as a friend. And I just got hit with a big ass twist that I didn't see coming, and I literally went, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Yeah, so it's really great. Like I'm really lucky. I hope this means more Tales games come to the Switch, because I would love for Symphonia to come to the Switch and see if that game lives up to my expectations, because I know that's like the Final Fantasy VII for Tales games, at least for a lot of people it is, in terms of its importance.
Not for me.
And well, in terms of like, it's a lot of people got that's their first game. That's like and it's supposed to be really good.
Oh yeah.
In terms of that, this is like, although it's weird because that's an earlier version of than this one. So I don't know, maybe it doesn't do things as much as I like, but it's still really good. The only thing I don't like is that like there are side quests in the game, and I've looked it up, but there's no way to tell in this game. Like, I don't know if this is a Tales thing, but like normally if you play an RPG, I played Xenoblade, I played Octopath, I played Final Fantasy, you talk to certain people, it triggers a side quest, right?
Yeah. Here
it's like it's very specific conditions, and apparently there's like a lot of them are timed, so if you do a certain story quest, they're like not there anymore. And I'm like, well, fuck, I guess I'm not doing any side quests this time, so I'm just gonna play through the story, which so far that's been okay. Like I think I've had to rematch a couple of bosses, but for the most part, once I looked it up online because I didn't want to waste my time with this bitch, I'm like, okay, and I did it. It was like, it was fine. I was at the perfect level or anything. So, and I think that's the way you're supposed to do it, because there's a new game plus that you unlock. So maybe like that's the idea, is like you'll do the new game plus stuff afterwards. And even though like a lot of people say use a guide, which that doesn't excite me about. So whatever.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, it's still very fun. I feel like I'm nearing the end. I think I'm wrong, but I think I'm reaching an apex. Something's gonna happen. I don't know what, but something's gonna happen. What else have I been playing? I think that's about it, actually. I mean, I went to Chicago. Talk about that. Like I went to C2E2. That was a lot of fun. Got a lot of comics, a lot of cosplay, a lot of cool pictures. I love one of the best parts of C2E2 was the cosplay. Like, so many people just go all out with the cosplay.
Awesome cosplay.
Yeah. Met legendary creators. One of them got really close to me, which I didn't expect. So this one of the reasons why I went to Chicago is an artist. His name's George Perez. He's a legendary comics artist. Drew for both Marvel and DC. Drew for the Avengers, Justice League. He's like he was one of the co-creators of the new Teen Titans. Like he's one of the famous ones. And he's retiring this year, so like, or he's retired, and this apparently was his last show, like for the foreseeable future, because obviously, you know, he can get big cash if he comes back and starts charging people for autographs. He did it. He just asked you to donate, and I did. I happily donated $10. But like every day the line was long, and I'm like, oh shit, I'll try the next day. And then I went, and I said Sunday. Nobody's gonna try it on Sunday. Sunday, as soon as we get there, I'm gonna go get in line. By the time I got there Sunday, it was already past 10 o'clock. Line was already 3 to 4 hours long. I'm like,
no.
Okay, well, I guess it's not going to happen. So I just walked the rest of the show and just was content, did some shopping, bought some cool shirts, whatever. Got an awesome Mr. Miracle shirt that I need to post on Twitter.
Nice.
I'll probably do that when I wear it next out when I go to the comic store again. But then the like around 2:30, show closes at 5. Around 2:30, I'm walking by his section again just to check, and I'm like, is this the line for George Perez? He go, yeah. Is he back yet? No. What time is he gonna be back? And they told me the time. All right, I'm waiting. And like, so like, all right, I'm gonna do this. Whether it happens or not, I'm gonna do this. For one, it helped me not spend any more money. So like, but like, and like the people, the attendees had to be like, okay, he may not get to you. Just understand. They're like, okay, I understand. I perfectly am aware. You know, they have to say that. And he got to me, and then I took a selfie. Which, by the way, I think I improved my selfie game. I still suck at it because I don't do them. But I didn't want to constantly hand my phone off and be like paranoid about who has my phone. So, but I took a selfie with him. He's like, "Oh, we're doing this." Like, okay, and he got really close to me. I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm not gonna tell you. Oh, all right." And like it, but it was cool. I told him happy retirement, so that was nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a great convention. Had some good food. Ate some Lou Almati's pizza. Oh my god, that was so good.
Pizza.
Found a good barbecue place on Sunday at the end of the con. It was so delicious. They actually import their brisket from a town that's not far from where I live, so I knew it was legit. I was like, oh fuck yeah, I'm getting from the right place. Let's see what else. We found free parking 2 out of the 3 days of the con. That was awesome.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, that was
hard to do in Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. We drove around for like 20 minutes on Friday. That was the one day we weren't successful. You know, I found a fucking spot, but they drove. My friend who was driving drove past it a couple of times. And I'm still mad at him for it. We could have gotten there earlier, but no, you didn't want to park next to the chicken place. Okay, fine. But they found parking the other 2 times, but it was such a blast. I did the Cards Against Humanity panel, or like they had a panel thing, which we did it for 2 nights. That first night was fucking hilarious. I haven't laughed that hard at a panel in so damn long. Like, it was so worth it. The second night was all right. You know, I don't know if it was because I saw it the first time and the kind of shock value went away. It just wasn't it wasn't as funny to me. But like overall, good show. Best part about it is that I went to the Mortal Kombat panel, and this is genius what they did. Not the Mortal Kombat people, but the vendor people. They had like when you go to the vendor room, we didn't eat breakfast. We were just trying to get to the lunch. I just had a little apple bar, cereal bar, and so like, okay, I'm gonna go to the Mortal Kombat panel. I told my friends, I'll see y'all later, because I wanted to get there early. I wanted in that panel room. So like we go there, and I get there like, oh, okay, I'm early. I'm gonna have a good seat. Awesome. I look behind me, and there's a fucking like a snack vendor right there. I'm like, that's fucking genius. Okay, here's my $15. Give me a pizza and a drink. Okay, fine, you win. I'm hungry. But that Mortal Kombat panel was also because before the panel, there was these 2 dudes who were cosplaying as Johnny Cage and Scorpion, and they actually got them. The moderator, I think, got them to like do a slow-mo Mortal Kombat fight. It was so funny. It was so great, and they were legit good cosplays. Nice. But I still maintained the best part of that panel was being there live, and the presenter was like showing out Baraka's like the step-by-step of how Baraka's fatality came out to be, and her accidentally clicking the slide that revealed Noob Saibot. So I was like, oh shit, is that Noob like? So I was like, I'm gonna tweet it. Y'all can't stop me. Y'all don't know who I am. And then of course the reveal that the actor from Mortal Kombat the movie is gonna be Shang Tsung. Like it was so hyped to be. Like,
yeah, we talked about that last week. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. But as soon as the Q&A started, I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm leaving. I don't want to see the cringe. I found funny because the first thing they said was, "We are not confirming any more characters today, so don't." And I looked around, and like about 5 people sat down. In hindsight, I wish I would have asked about the Switch version, but they probably wouldn't be able to say much anyways. But it was all right. It was great. C2 is great. Everybody go. It's a great show. It's a good show. But that's all I really got. That's all I got.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's been a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot. I haven't really played a whole lot this week. The only thing I have actually to add is playing that Metroid game, the one on the 3DS.
Samus Returns.
Samus Returns. That's a good Metroid game. Using the counter is a little bit finicky for me. Like, I don't know if I'm just not good at it or if the timing is a little weird.
You got to get the timing right. Yeah. It takes, yeah.
But once you do it, especially in boss fights, oh god, I get so wrecked when doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to use it. Like in some of the late game stuff, you'll just die without it.
Yeah.
That's why it kind of eases you in a little bit.
I'm just shooting missiles at creatures that need to be parried right now. So
no, it's not going to work forever. I'm telling you.
All our enemies, so you get the timing right.
Now's the time to practice. It's not deadly.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit early in. Like, I think I'm 1 or 2 levels in. I need to get 4 more DNA samples to get to the next area. I've got 2 actually.
Got to milk some Metroids.
2 more. Yeah,
their DNA.
Milk their DNA. I got the spider ball. I like that the spider ball is like an early unlock because I feel like that ability is like really cool traversal mechanic, and having it early like allows you to explore a lot more.
That's one of the coolest things about Metroid 2 is like, you know, they introduced that item in that game, and it's like one of the first things you get. So it's like, oh, this game's like doing stuff, and now like you know this came back in the 3D games, but it's like a late game like, you know, kind of traversal like puzzle mechanic thing. But Metroid 2, it's like third thing I think you get.
Yeah. And
you use it a lot.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. Just need to figure out how. I like also the scan ability. Like when you scan, you can see the blocks that you can destroy. So you're not like up against the wall and going, "What? Can I break that?" And I start shooting at it.
That's super helpful.
Yeah. The only real complaint that I have is that the screen on the 3DS, like, it's been really sunny the last few days, so I can barely see it while riding on the bus.
Yeah.
I have one specific spot on my bus when I go to work, and people have been in that spot all week, and I don't know why.
Sure.
Quick, that asshole's playing on the 3DS. Sit in the shadow spot. Sit in it.
I know, right? Ugh. But yeah.
That's why I'm glad the game actually runs super well on emulator. Because I own it. Like, I could play it on 3DS if I wanted. But it's so much more convenient just to, like, play it, you know, on a nicer screen with, like, 2K resolution at 60 frames a second.
Nice. Oh, yeah, that's also one thing. There's a couple other things Borderlands related. The 60 frames, like, unlocked frame cap, actually, is, like, been amazing. Like, I remember playing that on the 360 with my dad, split screen, and having it, like, at 30... Seeing it
sometimes,
seeing it like uncapped is amazing.
Yeah.
And the only other thing is that I don't remember the jumping being as bad as it is in this game. Like, it's a weird floaty jump, but also like it doesn't work sometimes. It's weird.
Well, part of it's because I'm not sure they had figured out like the cell shaded graphics yet, and so some of the polygons, like the collision detection, is off. So it's like you'll jump and it'll look like you should be able to go somewhere, but you can't. And so you just kind of like hover in place until you like wiggle off the polygons.
I hope there's some better traversal stuff in 3. Like, at least that mounting if they don't have.
There's talk of there being sliding, so there's at least that.
That's cool. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I would like to if they took notes from Apex. As far as traversal, that'd be cool.
mounting,
just sliding, being able to like mantle stuff, climb up walls, screw up walls and stuff like that. That'd be neat.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it for me. So let's move on into the news.
Woohoo! Which there's also not much of.
There's not much of, but there's some big stories going down.
Oh no!
I don't even feel like talking about this stupid serious stuff.
So I'm gonna start off with the Anthem thing from Kotaku because it's such an interesting story and it needs to be told.
It does. He did a good job.
Yes, he did. So yeah, Jason Schreier, shout outs to him. Great job.
Jason Schreier's a good boy.
Yes, he is. So I'm gonna quickly summarize as much as I can without going into too much detail. So essentially the story behind Anthem was that it started off in 2012 and it didn't even start off as a looter shooter. It started off as a completely different game. More of like a survival exploration type of game.
Ugh.
And whatever, Ben. And so when they tried doing the traversal stuff with it at first, they thought about like climbing around stuff, and they found out that Frostbite's engine's not great at that kind of stuff. Because Frostbite's
anything really.
Yeah, really. Frostbite's engine is mostly for Battlefield and first-person shooters. So. And
even then, barely.
Yeah. So yeah, the main issues that they had with it was the Frostbite engine. There was also infighting between BioWare Austin and BioWare Edmonton.
I know what those offices are, right?
And yeah, there was like a lack of focus and identity of what this game is, because this game didn't even come around to actually being put together until 16 months before it came out.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
The bulk of the development, yeah. Like they had the mechanics all built, but they weren't sure what they wanted to do with those mechanics or which ones they wanted to include.
Yeah, it was in pre-production for like 5 years.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
And another thing was that they constantly started from scratch over and over again. So like if they wanted to make one change in the game and wanted to test that out, it would take like a week or two to like get that to work because the Frostbite's engine was so difficult to work with.
Oof.
But EA insisted.
Yeah, EA needs to tell people not to use, like, they need to get off that engine and use something else, like maybe like.
What I find is stupid is the same thing. Like it sounds like EA is state government. Because in a lot of ways, it's very similar. Like, you're basically arguing, like, let's find a way to make something cheap to develop, but then it takes so many man-hours to get it done.
It ends up being more expensive.
It's saving money. Because of all the overtime and everything, it's actually more than just a different, easier to work with, cheaper engine would have been.
Yeah. But they don't want to pay those licensing fees.
But you're spending more on the people to do the work.
And you're ruining people's lives with it.
Right, like it doesn't make any sense.
He doesn't want to shell out money. Oh, color me surprised.
Because you're shelling out money one way or another.
Yeah,
right.
I don't understand that idea. If something's taking longer, you're spending more money on more people to do that work. So you're seeing it in the personnel budget instead of the expenditures budget, but it's still budgeted money. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know, man. Moving on. The one thing that made the game unique, the flying, the really good part of Anthem, they debated for so long of taking that out, putting it back in, taking it out, putting it back in. It's kind of ridiculous that they thought about taking it out so many times.
Why? That's crazy.
Well, like when you think about it, they have to design a world around the flying, right? Because if you can fly anywhere. There's like you could just go as high as you want or go wherever the hell you want, right? Without having your boosters max out. So when they're constantly doing that, they're constantly like re-editing the levels to how you can get around. So that's another issue that took forever.
And because they kept changing the levels, they couldn't really build missions because they didn't know what the actual levels would be in order to build missions around those landscapes.
Right.
Jeez. Goodness.
Another thing was that I think it was in 2015 or 2016 or something. The game started to look like a looter shooter, and the leads on Anthem didn't want to acknowledge that pretty much. They
didn't want to acknowledge Destiny.
Yeah, they didn't want to acknowledge Destiny specifically.
They were comparing it to things like Diablo 3 instead.
Because like BioWare is more of an RPG factory. They're not really shooters.
Right.
But like, if you see your game going in one direction, you should go in that direction instead of like ignore Destiny or like any of the other looter shooters. You should actually play those and like
the things you can learn from.
Exactly.
Which is why the inventory system and like the loot system is essentially broken.
Another thing was that speaking of the loot system and the inventory system, another thing was that this actually started off like this whole problem started off with Dragon Age Inquisition. And they didn't save any of that tech or anything from Dragon Age Inquisition. They threw that all out. And
Why? That makes no sense.
That's their logic. They start over with each game and build it from the ground up.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So yeah, they threw that out, and then apparently the internal like some of the developers were hoping Dragon Age Inquisition would fail because they had such a difficult time with that game that it would show EA like, hey, they need to actually work on like using a different engine or like they need help.
Looking back, it's honestly kind of ridiculous that game's good. Like I actually really like it.
Yeah.
I like Dragon Age, but that one felt really good to play. And I feel like it shouldn't have.
Right. It was the one game that they made from Frostbite, which ended up being a good one.
I mean, kind of a mess. Like the traversal elements, like kind of jumping between missions and things like that, is pretty messy. It would benefit from being an open world and stuff like that, but it's a good game.
Yeah, I won Game of the Year somewhere. I can't remember where.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all started then. There was also like obviously issues with Dragon Age, or not Dragon Age, Mass Effect Andromeda. So people that were working in Anthem had to go and rush over to Andromeda and help fix that up before it got shipped out, which didn't do a whole lot. It came out to really bad reviews.
But isn't that came part of why they weren't wanting to put flying in Anthem because they're going to be too similar to Mass Effect?
I
think that was part of it.
I can't remember that part. One part says that they had people leave, like had stress leave, and some developers never ever heard of that before. And people would just take 1 to 3 months off, and some of them wouldn't even come back.
Whoa!
Because this game was that stressful.
And this is during that crunch time, like the 12 to 18 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing that I want to bring up is they kept talking about BioWare magic. And I always hate it whenever someone says, "Oh, it's magic the way this works," or like it's the magic of our company that fixes things. And I'm like, you just mean your magic just means that you're just grinding people into dust and like just wearing them out. That's what magic is to you. Oh man.
Hey.
Damn. There was one other thing that I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember what it was.
This would scare me if you wanted to be a game developer or to work on video games. Like this would.
I've been seeing that a lot. Like the people that are coming out saying, like, you know, I always dreamed of being a game developer, and it didn't. You know, I ended up going a different way, and now looking back, I'm glad I did. Like, it's literally scaring people from wanting to be game developers. Like that sucks
a lot
because it's not the example everywhere.
Right. No. But from what I hear, from at least what's been coming out, it's like it's not just BioWare, EA. It's a lot.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's what
even like what was the controversy last year? Where was it? Activision let go all those people, or no, Red Dead, the whole Red Dead thing. You know that came out, so it's like it's there, but this is the ugliest form I think we've seen it yet.
Well, I think it's the biggest at the studio level because it's like multiple games for multiple years. Like the people have known about it, but it's stayed relatively quiet. Red Dead's was, I mean, it was extreme, but it wasn't really unexpected. Like it didn't sound that bad. It was like, oh yeah, a few people did 100 hours of work a week because they wanted to, like they chose to. It's like people blew that out of proportion. This is actually terrible. It's terrible work conditions. and should probably lead to unionization, but it's never going to happen.
I'm glad BioWare didn't hire me when I sent my resume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing was that when they part of the 16th months that they had to make the game, when they filmed and recorded all the audio and the VO and the motion capture stuff, they couldn't edit any of that stuff because it was already done.
What?
And I think that they didn't have the time to get.
It was really expensive motion capture because they wanted to make sure that there weren't they said that a big point was to make the game not memeable.
Oh, yeah,
like Mass Effect Andromeda was with the bad facial expressions and stuff like that. So they spent a lot of money on really good facial capture and voice acting and everything like that. So once it was made, the game was still majorly in flux during that time.
Yeah.
And so like months would go by and entire like story beats would change, but they had already recorded the VO and the motion capture and everything, and they couldn't afford to bring the people back in because it was, prohibitively expensive.
Oh boy.
And so, like, some lines in the game don't make any sense. Like, I actually booted up Anthem not too long ago, like maybe 2 days ago, just to look at it. And I was gonna play a mission, but then I ended up ditching that to go with my guild to play Destiny. And there's like an Asian woman in there that she's like a princess or something, and apparently she like lost her armor, but they didn't make the mission for that, so it doesn't really make any sense. Like her exosuit, Yeah.
And people will talk about other people like they're like they hate them,
and they're standing
right next to them. Yeah, weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So then after this
story, but it looks pretty.
It does look pretty. Yeah. Do you have anything else, or should I follow up with the follow-up?
I think that's most of the details, or the points at least.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then after this article came out, like just minutes later, EA and BioWare PR put out a blog that basically was like, we didn't want to participate in this article that was like tearing people down, and we didn't want to contribute to the negativity around the game.
Not about the game, it's about people's lives, motherfucker.
Yeah.
No, basically they were saying we didn't want to contribute in anything that would make our people look bad, even though they make our people look bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was that it came out so quickly after the article posted publicly, they hadn't gotten a copy of the article. I guess Jason Schreier sent them like the bullet points of what the article was about and encouraged them to read it when it came out. And they didn't read it. They just put out this post like minutes later, clearly showing they hadn't read it because it was like 11,000 words or something like that. They couldn't have possibly read it.
Right.
And, crafted that message in time. So, yeah, they whole accusation against what the article was about when they hadn't read the article and didn't know what the article was about. So it didn't really help them look better.
No.
Brilliant.
And then Casey Hudson, he wrote an email to his staff talking about how Kotaku article came out. They explained why they didn't want to contribute because Jason was naming names and they didn't want to put people's names through the mud or something officially themselves. And then they said that they're gonna have like an all hands meeting and gonna have a commitment to delivering on the highest expectations from BioWare games through a work environment that's among the very best in the world. With your help, we will get there. So they're saying a lot of words that they're gonna try and improve conditions.
But they probably would have done it by now if they actually cared.
Yeah, and if this article didn't come out, then nothing would have changed at all.
Yeah. Especially since the top brass at BioWare were telling employees to not talk to the press.
Right.
After this all came out. So it's like instead of fixing things, they're just like, hey, don't talk to them about
damage control.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, it's pretty normal protocol, like with NDAs and things like that, to refer press to the PR people. I mean, I work in communications. I'm very aware of how this all works. But also, it sounds sleazy when you've just had this big expose exposing your deepest, darkest, bad secrets of the studio, and then telling people, "Hey, no, don't talk to them about us anymore. Let us handle it. Yeah. Us, the ones that put out an article about how wrong it is to talk about how bad our people are when we didn't even read the article. We are, so just let us handle it."
Yeah. The only other thing I have to add is that I read the article like half of it before work and then half of it after work, but I saw a lot of tweets in the meantime where people were just like, "Oh my god, they like canceled the version of Dragon Age to finish Anthem." Like, God, you idiots! You're missing the whole point of the article. It's not about just the game; it's about work.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
so that pissed me off.
My games. All they care about is my games.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
But
oh boy,
don't worry, Dragon Age 4 is still in development.
Yeah. All right.
I hate people.
You guys have anything to add?
No, I hope there's some improvement because BioWare is not BioWare anymore, and it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
gamers also suck.
Yeah, they do. Which is awful. It's awful because like fuck. I mean, I've only played 3 BioWare games, and that I love. And that's Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. And it's just like I would love for them to be able to capture that feeling that was 2, but it's just never. It just sucks. I'll just replay 2 again. Fuck it.
There you go.
Also, when I talked, I didn't mention the part of the infighting between Austin and Edmonton, and the only bit that I remember from the article is that Austin like actually made the Old Republic, which is the Star Wars MMO, and they have experience with online games. Edmonton doesn't, and they kind of just like didn't really take their advice on things to do.
Oh my god!
Now that Anthem is out, Austin is the main studio working on the games as service, like live elements of it.
Interesting.
So now they're like, "Oh, we screwed this up royally. Listen to any of your ideas that would have fixed it."
Yeah.
Now have our smoldering remains.
To me, it sounds like Austin's going to be the A developer in BioWare.
So yeah.
I was gonna say I should go try to get. I know where those offices are at. It's in an area where I feel poor as fuck.
Bring them some pizza.
Yeah.
So yeah, keeping the motif going with shitty people on the internet not taking the right lessons. Borderlands 3 release date is confirmed, and it's going to be an exclusive to Epic Game Store for the first 6 months.
On PC.
Oh boy.
It's also coming to PS4 and Xbox One.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. September 15th is going to be the release date.
I understand why. I could understand why people at a certain point do not like this launching on Epic, on Steam.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of features that's Epic does not have, and there's a lot of security issues that Epic doesn't have over Steam. I get that. I understand that, right? I perfectly understand that. But the second you start review bombing shit on Steam for that stuff, and you don't want to take the time to download a fucking launcher that'll cost you nothing but time that you could literally take a shit to do, like that's when I know you're an entitled man, baby. That's when I know you're a person who wants everything handed to you, and you can't handle the idea of it. Like if your complaints are they don't have 2 action authority, or a lot, like there was like a good chart that I saw what Steam has and what Epic has. That is your thing. And if you don't want to buy, and if you want to wait, what was it, 6 months, 3 months?
Yeah.
Before Borderlands 3 to launch on Steam, you're an awesome person. But the second you're like review bombing and doing all this shit and calling, and I'm like, man, just shut the fuck up. You're gonna download it on thing. And then thanks to Low, I learned that you can download it through Epic and launch it through Steam. So what's the problem? I don't see the problem.
As long as you know where the exe for the game is, you can just put it in your Steam library, and there it is. Like you can, I'm pretty sure you can have like the Steam overlay and stuff too. Like you don't have like, there's no like infrastructure built into Steam for the game, but you can play it. That's how I did that with Axiom Verge actually, so I can use my Steam controller for it. I did it with a bunch of other games too. So It's a thing you can do.
I think the problem there is people are worried about their information being leaked through Epic, and as soon as you sign up for the store, it's gone. Like, there's no like delay on your information getting out. It's not like you can sign in real quick, buy Borderlands 3, sync it to Steam, and then it's like, okay, cool.
They have Epic gift cards.
Now I'm good.
True. Is that a thing? Do they have like
I don't
Epic?
know.
I mean, if that's the thing that exists, do that. Like if you're worried about
for purchases on the Epic Store, I just honestly just do PayPal because it's kind of like an extra layer between my bank account and the Epic Store. So if something is screwy, I can be like, "Hey, PayPal, take care of this."
Yeah,
for sure.
Pretty good with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my solution. And then also two-step verification.
Third-party thing.
Yeah. I think Epic Store has two-step verification now after the last shit that happened. So I mean, there's that too. But I mean, there's things you can do, but at the same time, there's only so much you can do about the quality of the launcher itself. If it's not that secure, it's not that secure, and that's a reasonable concern to have. However, like going onto Steam and writing "fuck the Epic Game Store" on Borderlands 2
with 2 middle fingers with ASCII art,
right? Like that's not accomplishing anything.
No.
Well, right? Wasn't it? The Metroid developers came out and said, like, we never want to put a game on Steam again if this is how you're going to treat our games when we do release them on Steam.
They did that.
It's just setting a bad precedent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's terrible. And you know what? Like, the thing of it is like the Metro and Metro Last Light, the remakes and stuff like that, those had really good reviews until they announced, like, the Epic Store exclusivity, and then all of a sudden people review bombed it. I'm like, okay, like, I mean... Yeah, sure. Like it went from like overwhelmingly positive to mixed now. Like that's what you've done. You've accomplished that. But like, what else is that accomplishing other than that? Like it's people can look and see over time, like the little bar graph of the reviews and like, oh, it tanked here. Why did that happen? Oh, because this game got announced for the Epic Game Store. And also everyone's saying, fuck the Epic Game Store.
This game's like, we'll just go there, see, oh, this game is mixed. Play it like
exactly. Some people just take it face value. Like, for those people, they could be missing out on games because of entitled people like this who
I'm missing out on Borderlands 3 because it's an Epic exclusive, so they can miss out on this one on Steam. I'm doing them a favor.
Jeez,
that's probably the mentality.
It's ridiculous.
But to me, there's sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, just real quick, just from like a business level, like, I mean, like there's benefit to the company for releasing on Steam, or not Steam, for Epic Game Store exclusively, for 6 months. Like they take that less of the profit cut or whatever like that. And if anything, this should be like a thing, like a message to Steam that they should reconsider how they're currently doing things, because
the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, because you have all these people going to the Epic Game Store. Like all these developers and stuff like that, like they're going there for a reason. I mean, like despite the quality of the launcher, they're going there. So I don't know. This is crazy.
Yeah. To me, there's two sides of this. One is that the Epic launcher is not available everywhere, and that is a genuine concern when it's exclusive on PC. So if the only way you have to play something is PC and it's not available in your country, even though Steam would be, that sucks. It really does suck, and I understand that.
Yeah.
And that's when they should do like what some streaming services do, like the DC Universe app. Thomas has been getting to watch like Doom Patrol and stuff on Netflix because the DC Universe app isn't up there, so he gets to just do it on Netflix. Yeah. Whereas we have to shell out the extra money for the DC Universe app, so I just don't. And so you have to have that mentality of like, well, if my thing isn't, then I need another deal for those regions. Maybe have like US exclusivity on the Epic Store, and then everywhere else it goes to Steam. You're still going to get people regionally complaining, well, why isn't it Steam here when they get it on Steam? That's not fair. I've downloaded an extra launcher and they don't. But those people are going to complain no matter what. So at least you're making the other ones, the ones that can't get it otherwise, happy, because they can at least still play the game. You're not screwing them over with your exclusivity.
Yeah.
The other side of it, anyone that does anything to complain about this game outside of this game is just basically the worst kind of person.
Yeah.
Because the way that you like, if you really are mad about this, the only way that you have to take it out on them is to not. But you're going to. Like, those people that are complaining, they're review bombing other games because they're still going to buy this one. And they want another way to, you know, like, kick the man, stick it to the man. That's the phrase. Stick it to the man. That still justifies them buying this game probably on the Epic Store that they hate. I don't have the Epic Store. I don't plan to get the Epic Store. I don't care about the Epic Store problems because I'll just wait.
Yeah.
It's a video game. It's not that big of a deal. Like,
oh boy. If
it really matters to you and you only have a PC, that's another. You really want to play it. You don't want to support the Epic Store. You want to stick it to 2K. Pirate the friggin' game. You have another system, another way to play it. It's crossplay. Buy it elsewhere. If you're going to review bomb other games that aren't on the Epic Store, and then you still buy Borderlands 3 on the Epic Store, you're a hypocrite, and you should shut up. That's the two sides of this. If you don't have the Epic Store, and you have no way to play this game, I feel bad for you. I'm sorry. That sucks. Epic shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
If you do have access to the Epic Store, and you're just being a dick, stop. No one cares about whatever activist thing you think you're doing. You're not.
Keyboard warrior.
I saw a lot of people saying they're just going to pirate the game too.
Yeah.
Which is going to be interesting because it's a multiplayer game primarily. So I don't know. Like,
I pirated Dead Island and played it with people a while back.
Well,
there's
maybe it'll work out. I don't know. But I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's crazy. It's people are flipping out over a launcher of all things, and it's just
this is at least they don't have to buy another $400 console to play a game that was previously on multiple platforms. Fucking Tomb Raider. So yeah, it's not like that. You think about that. How I was upset when they said Tomb Raider, the second Tomb Raider game after the reboot, was going to be exclusive for what was it, a year? Not even a year. It was like not even like 4 months because it bombed.
No, well, it was supposed to be a year. And I think it was like 8 months or something.
Yeah, it wasn't even that. So like I was upset. I'm like, I don't want to buy an Xbox. Although now I'm constantly buying an Xbox. So I was like, that's worse in my opinion because you have to shell out money to get that exclusive that was previously on multiple platforms. Yeah. This is
right.
Like
with this, you maybe have to sacrifice some data. We don't even really know. All the rumors that it's like selling data to Chinese companies has pretty much come up false. But it does have less security than Steam. So sure, the data that's already out there with every other account you have might get sold. Oh no.
Exactly.
If you're afraid that your data is going to get sold, it already is.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Facebook has your shit.
Exactly.
You know,
Facebook
I guarantee
is worse than China.
A percentage of people who are complaining about this probably signed up for Ancestry.com and they sold their DNA. So suck it, assholes.
That's why I haven't done that shit. I ain't trying to hit up in no database.
Right.
Cloned me. Indeed.
That's why you live in the desert.
No one needs more of me in the world. No one needs that. No.
Oh, you know, wait. Okay. Because I got to go to my whiteboard real quick. Sorry, I'll be right back. It's gonna be a beautiful utopia controlled by Low, ruled by me.
Oh no! Please don't. So much responsibility. It sounds like.
Humanity would really hit a low point.
God damn it!
I see what you did there. I see what you did, and it was good. It was very good.
I'm gonna take this for that one.
I was just gonna say a lot of the people who like just retweet or repost the spreadsheet of all the features. I want to ask them, how many of these features in Steam do you actually use though?
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, cloud saves are great. You know, that's awesome. Like being able to like launch other games through it, that's awesome too. You have cross-game chat. It has built-in chat. There's like a streaming service built into Steam. It has a lot of cool shit. But there's a lot of cool shit in there that I don't use. So like,
or that other things can do also.
It's mainly the security stuff, exactly. Which I can see getting like not being okay with downloading the Epic Store.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that was also the thing where it was like, I guess like the Epic Game Store was like looking at your Steam contacts or something like that, but that was for crossplay I think it was. So I don't know. People were just looking for reasons to complain, and it's just like it's like saying, well, why should I buy this car when this car has all these other features that I'm not going to use anyways? That's what it sounds like.
Every new launcher has caused the same level of issues. Epic's just been a bigger deal. A lot of exclusives.
Yeah, at least it's not like hopefully at least it's not like Fallout, like Bethesda's launcher where it literally breaks when you start out.
Oh yeah, there was I don't think we talked about it, but they put all their games on Steam. Like
yeah, that's right, they did.
So they kind of like just gave up on their launcher.
Yeah, probably for the best. It sounds like a lot of infrastructure and stuff to maintain, and I mean, it's Bethesda. I mean,
but like, look at the Origin launcher. Origin hasn't really gotten better since it came out.
It's just kind of the same.
Argue the Epic launcher is better, and Origin has exclusives.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Like Titanfall 2.
Use it.
Like, I wouldn't play Titanfall 2 otherwise. Is Titanfall 2 on Steam?
No.
Apex is on the Origin launcher.
Yeah.
Forget everyone has Apex.
Exactly.
You got it. Even though the Origin launcher sucks. People's making a big deal about this because it's Epic.
Yeah, it's
the Chinese conspiracists, you know.
It's also Tencent,
which isn't even real.
I know, but they're conspiracy theorists. You can't argue with them, right, Ben?
The thing about Tencent too is that they're a shareholder, significant shareholder, but they're still a minority, I believe. So they don't have like they can't like call shots necessarily. But I don't know.
Okay, moving on.
Whatever. People suck.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something that we like. We talked about Metroid before, and so Best Buy's internal system was Metroid Prime Trilogy, and Zelda: A Link to the Past for Switch.
Yeah,
and a few other things that aren't listed here.
Yeah, but those are the headliners because they get clicks.
Yeah.
I love before we get into it, I love that like somebody posted on Twitter like, I can't believe they're bringing Metroid Prime Trilogy to Switch, and it was the 3DS game, not the 3DS game, Pinball, and Prime Hunters as the ones coming to Switch.
Wow. Don't do that to me.
If it is, I'm gonna just laugh. I
mean, honestly, they could bring Hunters. I think that'd be kind of cool. Like
a nice little bonus game that you get.
Yeah. Because it doesn't need the two screen stuff.
Yeah, because it was just a way to move, I think.
Well, it's a radar, but you could put the radar on the top screen.
Exactly. Make it part of the HUD. Just touch.
But it's also not a great game, so there's that.
Yeah, don't just the other three I was playing. As for the Link to the Past one, I don't think we're gonna get like a Link to the Past remake like some people have been speculating, because I feel like there's no way they're gonna put two Zelda remakes that close together. Just not.
Yeah.
I think it might be, and I kind of don't want it to be because it's gonna prove everybody right. I think this might be the start of like Super Nintendo, as part of the Switch Online Classic thing. I think that's what it might be.
Then why would it be a Best Buy SKU?
Yeah, I don't fucking know.
That's a retail price. Yeah, I think it definitely could be.
Or they're gonna pay $7.99 for it again, and you can buy it.
Well, because I put this in our Discord. I think it could be like Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds remade together, like kind of in the same graphic style. So it's like you can a Link to the Past saga collection type thing.
That would be weird, because they're basically the same game, but one has a better mechanic.
No, Link Between Worlds is entirely better.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, but like in terms of structurally and how they are and how like it's light in a dark world, they're pretty much the same game. So that's weird to me. I mean, they're different enough for sure, but like it just.
But, I mean, like Link Between Worlds started as Link to the Past remake, so it wouldn't be that hard, like with the world map already built and everything, to also rebuild Link to the Past in that engine, and then port them to Switch. Like that's a cheap way to make $60 per game.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
And I would
like, I see that being fully possible.
I would love a Link to the Past remake if it looked like Link Between Worlds.
I wouldn't. I'd mostly play the Link Between Worlds part.
That's because you're a heathen. You know, like a good Zelda game.
Dungeon in Link to the Past is the worst dungeon ever made.
Look, listen, there are shitty dungeons in all the Zelda games.
Prove me wrong.
Wait, what dungeon?
Skull Dungeon. Like Dark World.
Oh, yeah, that's convoluted. But every fucking Zelda game has that one dungeon you don't like.
Yeah, but it's made. I have a video idea of my top favorite and least favorite Zelda dungeons of all time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look at the water temple.
For it. I just haven't made it.
Look at the sea temple. That's not the sea. It's not like the sea temple, but the thing from Majora's Mask. Shit, all of Wind Waker's dungeons are pretty much bad anyway. So
no, the Great Sea Temple is actually pretty good. It's one of my favorite water temples.
It's good, but yeah, exactly. It's not compared to the other ones.
But as far as water temples go, anyway, we're off topic. We'll have another discussion about that another time.
Yeah, you're wrong.
This Best Buy listing has the reason that started was because Persona 5S thing came out as like it was basically called Persona 5 for Switch or Persona 5 Switch Edition, whatever it's called.
We don't even.
And so people were thinking that's the Persona 5S that's been rumored to be announced on April 25th, and so that was like okay, so this is real, like it's actually happening. And then alongside that. They also found SKUs for Metroid Prime Trilogy, Zelda Link to the Past, and then Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD eShop, like in quotes or in parentheses. I mean,
so
like basically,
I didn't know like, that.
Just digital versions of those HD remasters on the eShop specifically. I guess probably Switch digital downloads. So this whole thing, like. People were joking that it was a Best Buy Direct, like a little mini Nintendo Direct that Best Buy leaked. And honestly, I could see that. Like, we've already got Cadence of Hyrule and Link's Awakening coming out this year, and there's no new Zelda game coming this year. Like, there's been the kind of ramp up with Monolith Soft and everything like that, building towards probably. Some kind of new game next year, either Majora's Mask style sequel to Breath of the Wild, or the like loose remake / sequel to Skyward Sword, that kind of thing. But this year, if they don't have Metroid Prime 4 coming, which that basically rebooted itself, they have Pokemon, they have Animal Crossing, things like that. But like
Astral Chain,
yeah, but. They need like a major hook, and so I could see
Pokemon's going to do that.
But that's late in the year.
Yeah, that's where they need it. Like in November, they make all their money.
Months, I mean, we've got Mario Maker 2 coming. That's going to
that's going to sell units. Fire Emblem's coming out in the summer as well.
Yeah, but you need something for the springtime.
Yoshi just came out. There you go.
I could see one of these Zelda titles in May. Honestly. I don't know if they had an announcement date for Cadence or not.
I have no idea. That game's so...
It's like 2019, but...
I mean, Yoshi just came out, and then there's nothing in May outside of Mortal Kombat.
That's what I'm saying. I could see a Zelda title in May.
I mean, Mortal Kombat comes out for Switch, and that's going to be a pretty big deal. People will buy it for that. I guarantee
it's not an exclusive, though. It's
no, but it's a big deal.
But think, like, I can't remember the months of everything, but as far as like Nintendo first-party titles...
Yeah,
we could have a Zelda game like every other month for the rest of the year, which some of it would be, eShop titles like the HD games. They wouldn't be as big of releases or anything. It would just come out with the eShop titles those months. But we can have a Zelda title every other month, and it would totally make sense.
I mean, I think Nintendo's just fine because you just got the Yoshi game just came out. There's nothing in May. You're right, but then in June you got Mario Maker. That's gonna sell a lot of people. Who have the Switch or make people buy the Switch for it. In July, you got Fire Emblem. August, you have nothing. Then you have that Platinum game, Astral Chain.
So August, another Zelda game.
I mean, you don't really need anything. I mean, like, you got enough already. People will probably still be playing Mario Maker
for that 2 years. They've had a first-party game every month. I don't see them stopping that.
I guess. I think that's just too much Zelda.
That's not possible.
I mean, yeah, it is. I don't want to get burnt out.
Think about it this way: they did the Final Fantasy games, eShop titles, like pretty much all at once. You know, a few weeks staggering between them. They would probably do the same thing with Twilight Princess HD and Wind. So those would be maybe 2 weeks apart in 1 month, just as eShop titles. And then we get this Link to the Past compilation, or just Link to the Past game, whatever. Probably not May. Cadence could maybe be May, but that's a little early. I don't know. We'd really need another Direct to announce some more stuff. It's too close. I fully see like a Zelda game probably like November time. Either September or November when it's a little slower.
Yeah, I mean that Link's Awakening game is scheduled for this year, so
yeah, that's probably the fall one. But I don't know. Point is, I believe this leak. Like Best Buy's put placeholder things in before. It doesn't entirely mean that there's something coming, and it could be related to Nintendo Direct April Fool's thing with like everything's coming that announced a few of these games, obviously as a joke, and they might have just like made fake SKUs. Like they're still in the system. Like there were tweets from people afterwards, like yeah, like I can confirm they're there. Like multiple people confirming that they're in the system. So it could be just wishful thinking, but
they got Dragon Age for Switch coming out. I don't know if it's exclusive, but it has exclusive content. There you go.
That's Dragon Quest.
Dragon, whatever. It's Dragon something. Square. the RPG Square doesn't care much about.
Yeah, that's September, October. I don't know which.
Okay, that's fine. That's gonna be a huge release for people.
But it's still not a first party game. They've had first party releases every month since they started with the Switch.
I don't remember having that much for first party releases last year.
Well, exclusive releases, I should say.
Yeah, they had Kirby. Then there was a long drought. I don't really remember what they had much last year, but I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, I'd have to look up the list. I don't remember all of them, but it was exclusive titles.
That first year was insane. That first year, you're right, of the Switch, that was insane. The second year, not so much. There wasn't as much Switch stuff.
I'll pull up the list.
Okay.
Not right now. I'll send it to you, but let's move on. I gotta go to sleep soon.
All right, moving on. We're gonna keep it retro and go back to 64-bit era with the 64-bit Tonic. Now
people still like this game?
You put this in here.
I didn't put that in there.
I put this in there.
Okay. You talking about?
I thought it was cool.
Why would I put this in there?
To bury the lead a little bit, Playtonic has revealed that the 64-bit Tonic is coming to Yooka-Laylee for the Nintendo Switch and PC versions right now. The others will come later.
So now you can play a mediocre game that looks even more like shit.
Yeah, this was an announcement like from when the game came out. Like there was a placeholder for this Tonic. It was a feature that they had talked about like pre-release and everything. And it's finally been added to the game. But what's funny is they announced it on April Fool's. So like this seems like something that should be an April Fool's. Like here's a 64-bit version of our game, but like it's a real feature that they've been talking about for months.
That's pretty much what April Fool's is now.
It's out on
Here's our joke thing. We actually made it. Please buy it.
True. Sometimes it is.
Yeah.
But honestly, like this doesn't look 64-bit. It just looks like they removed a lot of the textures and then put a CRT filter on.
Oh.
Yeah,
like they didn't actually make anything low poly or anything.
That sounds bad.
So like the rest of Yooka-Laylee.
They showed some comparison shots, and it's the same. Like models and everything are the same. It's just they removed the actual like bump mapping texture type stuff, so it's a lot flatter look, kind of bland. But like Yooka and Laylee look exactly the same, and it's really frustrating, honestly, because I would like it to look more 64-bit, because I think it's a cool look for the game.
The idea it should have looked like Banjo-Kazooie, but with like when it got ported to the Xbox 360, just everything a little bit smoother.
But it's just like landscape textures, and even though, like I said, they're not 64-bit, they're just lacking texture.
Yeah, because that was the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird.
I see a pretty good burn in this tweet thread. Why would you do this on April Fool's of all days? The real joke is how lazy the effect is.
right?
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, when you make
put out like a pre-release picture of like the two characters looking 64-bit, I was like, that's kind of cool actually, and they didn't do that at all.
Nope.
Right. Moving on, we've got Ben's new favorite game, Lovers of Aether.
Wait, what?
This is another April Fool's thing, which is pretty funny because that's also a real thing.
Oh yeah, I saw this. I thought this was hilarious.
Yeah, it's
actually
a free
real.
It's a free title.
Yeah, I get to fucking
the
wail. That's
of
awesome.
Aether's character, and I hate how cute they are. Actually,
yeah,
like
they're pretty good.
Really good job.
You can't compete with Smash in terms of its characters, but fuck it, you know how you can compete. Let the people fuck them. That's how you let them. That's how you win. That's how you win the war.
But it's funny because like the whole plot of like this fighting game is, you know, like they keep invading each other's territory, and it's like, no, we have to fight. And now it's like they're just all in a high school setting, like you know, dressed with like the jock and the nerd and stuff like that.
Man, this is
and they're just talking to each other,
isn't it?
I guarantee. Hey, there's not. I mean, there's the pigeon one, so
yeah,
but that's not really furry because that's literally just a pigeon.
It's like aviators, or I don't know.
Yeah, people who want to fuck birds.
But like, there's a bird in this too. There's also like some cool little mini games and stuff in there. Like, there's some depth to this game, and it's free.
Interesting.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm always a fan of the monitor on your monitor effects that they have in this.
Agreed.
Going even further back to the 16-bit era, we got Sega Genesis Mini launching in September.
I already pre-ordered mine.
Why?
Because I want it next to my Super Nintendo, and it has Castlevania Bloodlines on it. That's the only reason why.
The history of Genesis, like flashback consoles and stuff, would make me wait for a review, even if I wasn't a big Sega fan.
Here's why I tell you this. I have better hope. One, Act Games is not making this one, so
true.
But the people who are making this one, they're called M2. And they are, if you haven't heard of them, they, at least what most people might know them for, they were responsible for a lot of the Sega Genesis 3D ports to 3DS, and those are fantastic. So if they're handling that and they're just putting it literally in a little emulator box, it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. So the only thing I hate about this mini is that the US version gets the shitty 3-button controller. I will spend extra money to get the 6-button Genesis controller.
Big boy.
I remember hating.
I remember that thing was not comfortable to hold really at all. And then the 6-button came out, and I was like, "Where's this been?"
Yeah. So the games announced so far are Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania Bloodlines.
Yes, has not been seen. This is the first re-release that game has had ever. That's number one reason why I'm getting this.
Space Harrier 2.
Cool.
Shining Force.
That's hope they put 2 on there, but cool.
That's a game.
Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
The actual Tetris I played growing up.
Obligatory. Like, it's on every Sega console thing.
Toe Jam and Earl.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's grunge.
Cool. I like the music. The music's good. Comic Zone.
That's another one. That's a good one. I want to play that one.
Beat 'em up. Good sprite animations. Story was weird, but fun game.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Of course. I hope they put Sonic 3 and Knuckles on this thing. I really hope they do.
I doubt it, but that'd be cool.
Gunstar Heroes.
A must-have. That's a must-have in any Genesis.
Good one. Classic.
And everyone's favorite Genesis game, Altered Beast.
Yeah. Who doesn't love Altered Beast?
Who likes Altered Beast?
I like Altered Beast.
No, you don't. Go back and play that game.
I just remember thinking this game looks really weird. What's going on?
It's a funky beat 'em up.
It's awesome. It's an early beat 'em up, and I love it.
It looks like shit. It plays like shit.
I mean, you're probably gonna look if you want to play Golden Axe.
It's 10 minutes long.
Who cares? You don't have a lot of time, so it's a quick game. You be as a man thing that turns into a beast, and you beat some people up. It's awesome.
Of course, the one Altered Beast fan is on.
Not an Altered Beast fan. I just, it deserves to be on there.
It should have been Streets of Rage 2.
Streets of Rage 2 is going to be on it. It's 40 games. It's going to be on there. Same with It's gonna be on there. It's gonna if Streets of Rage 2 is not on this list, I will eat a water bottle. There you go.
Well, it seems like there's a noticeable lack of 2-player games on here so far, and it specifically comes with 2 controllers. Yeah. So I would expect a lot more 2-player games, like you said. Sonic the Hedgehog and things like that.
Yeah.
Sonic 3, I guess. Sonic 1 wasn't 2-player, was it?
Sonic 2 is
2-player. Sonic 2.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But you gotta put Sonic 1 on the Genesis. I mean, you gotta do that.
Yeah, of course, I guess.
Can you put fighting games with a 3-button controller? Does that work?
I don't know. I don't want to try.
Sounds like a bad time.
I think that's how I played Mortal Kombat.
I mean, the only fighting game they should put on this game is Mortal Kombat 2 and the funky ass version of Street Fighter 2 on the Sega Genesis. But yeah, I'm buying the 6-button controller. I'm importing that shit. Not playing.
Also, yeah, Japan gets the 6-button controller, by the way.
Yeah, why? Why, Sega? Why?
Because they're superior in every way.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you and your Mega
no one
Drive.
cares about Sega in the US anymore.
The thing is, the Genesis is better here. Give us the better fucking controller.
I like how on this 3-button American controller, above the 3 buttons, it says trigger.
The good news is though, it's not like the SNES Classic where it uses like the Wii sort of plugins. It's a USB one, so theoretically, if you buy you either use your 360 controller probably, or you could buy something off of Amazon. I was even looking for some. There's some cheap ones for like 10, 15 bucks. So it's like it's whatever.
Nice. That's cool.
The analog sound controls for the headphone on there is pretty dope, though. You gotta love those classic sliders, you know.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I have hubs. I already pre-ordered mine.
Yeah, so pre-orders are up if you're interested. Yeah. And
it's not gonna go away like the Super Nintendo Classic. It's probably gonna sit there for a while.
Probably. Although those are back too, so
yeah. Are they at the? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I've seen them in stores.
Yeah.
I've been tempted.
Last news story of the day: Starlink Battle for Atlas production update.
You didn't read this, did you?
No, I did not.
Cool. So they basically announced that, they're super happy that everyone's been receiving the new Starlink content well, like the Star Fox, editions that were announced in February's Nintendo Direct. And that they're going to continue working on more free updates for the game, but they're actually discontinuing the physical toys that accompany the game. So all new content is going to be digital only. They're not going to put out any more toys or anything because it's been extremely expensive.
Nobody's buying
and the sales for the game itself has been below expectations. So they've made the decision to not release any additional physical toys for the spring update and in the future. They wanted to reassure everyone that they're grateful for the support and that they will continue to offer free content, such as additional missions, challenges, and new activities, including content that was inspired by community suggestions, such as Outlaw Racing, which is one thing they showed off in that Nintendo Direct. And that they can't wait for everyone to get their hands on our next big update launching this April. So I would guess probably a few more months, like whatever they've currently got in the works for Starlink, and then they're going to quietly sunset it and let people just enjoy what's out there now. Which, I mean, this game's gotten more support than I would have expected it to.
Yeah, it's huge. I almost bought it when it was $40 the deluxe edition. It had all the stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll probably buy it around Christmas time when it was like $25-30.
Yeah, like now that they're going to discontinue the physical stuff, like finding the the Star Fox set with all those toys and everything with it could be worth holding on to. Like just keep it all in the box. And
I opened mine up.
I'm gonna buy the digital version.
It's a nice little R-Wing just sitting on my speaker right now. It's for me.
Yeah. I don't care enough about Star Fox, but I would be tempted just as a collector's item.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, where can the people find you?
Oh, I don't get to talk about the Melee thing?
Oh yeah, okay, talk about Melee.
Okay, it'll be quick, I promise. So this past weekend there was a tournament. No, Kotaku, I don't want to give you my email address. There was a Melee tournament. It was called Battle of BC3 in Vancouver. It was Game 5 between Ice Climber player and the Jigglypuff player. Basically, what happened is that the Ice Climber player or the Jigglypuff player went up by 1 stock, and the Ice Climber player proceeded to not play for several minutes, ultimately ending quitting and resulting in just basically quitting, forfeiting, despite wasting everybody's time and throwing his controller. And this blew up because of a Twitter account at Sir Toasty is where I saw it, and I just thought it was really interesting. The reason why this Melee player apparently got mad is because his there's a technique in Smash Melee that's called wobbling, which really only ice climbers can do, I think, which basically allows them to do like infinite attacks on a character, and that's the only reason why they're even viable in Melee. And there was, for some reason, it was banned in this tournament, and for some reason because Smash has to control Melee has to control everything about their game to make it competitive perfectly. So yeah, and it caused quite a stir. I will say this: a lot of people were like using this as a springboard to attack Smash Melee. I'm not going to do that, although I do have some words to the guy who basically threw it. Wasted everybody's time. That's what I'm more upset about than anything, is that he wasted people's time. And he could have just instant death. He could have done any of that stuff and got off the stage and threw his temper tantrum, whatever. My thing is that you play a game, Smash Melee, not a lot of characters. You play Ice Climbers, not a great character in the game from what I understand, and relies on this wobbling technique, which for some reason Smash banned, because apparently it slows down the game too much. Because Melee is notorious with banning shit and unbanning shit. So basically the reason why that works against the Jigglypuff is the Jigglypuff is basically your keep away character. You can just, run, attack, run, hit and run. You're lame it out, turtle style, basically. You've seen that in fighting games where, like Justin Wong would do that. That's what he's famous for. And so he basically got upset. And my thing is like, you knew wobbling was going to be banned in this tournament. You knew that. Wobbling's been banned for a while. You knew that. That Ice Climbers versus Jigglypuff is probably a 10-1 matchup. In that case, it's 10 in favor. That's fight terminology. I apologize. It's 10-1 Jigglypuff's favor because of her mobility and Ice Climbers' inability to catch it. Because basically, Jigglypuff was just moving from platform to platform. Ice Climbers just can't catch up. And this is hard. And this is what I'm going to say is that like it's super hard to do this. But you need to have a secondary. You need to have a fox in the pocket if you think you might run into a Jigglypuff. And I know, like, and that's easier said than done, because learning a second fighting game character, like, seriously, is super hard. And I'm doing that with Chun-Li this year. It's super hard because I'll do buttons that I think are right, but that's for Rashid, not for Chun. It's super hard, and especially in a game like Melee, it's really hard. But you have to know that going in. Like I like you have to understand that you have to have a counter pick. Like if I was playing in tournament, and I knew my opponent likes to play Dalsum, I'm not going to pick Chun-Li because Chun-Li gets destroyed by Dalsum. So I'm going to pick Rashid because Rashid is faster. He's more mobile. I can take advantage of things more so, or have a more even matchup. So that's what other thing that's my thing to that guy. It's like, and then also he should have just kill yourself instantly. Why did you sit there? If he was like, and to me, I know some Melee players and some casual players are like getting mad at the Jigglypuff. Like the Jigglypuff's playing the game the way he should be playing. Like, there's a character in Street Fighter V called Manat. She uses these orbs that'll basically keep you out. That's her goal, because the second you get in on her, it's wide open season for her. It's wide open season. So, when like Jigglypuff, and again, it was 3-2. It wasn't a beatdown or anything. It was close. And the only reason that Jigglypuff lost is because the Jigglypuff went in, and Jigglypuff's not good at going in. Jigglypuff's meant to keep you out, keep away, play keep away. That's why you play the character. So like you have to understand that as a player if you take it seriously. And I think and to me it's a larger point at Melee is sort of how they like to control things. And I'm going to say this, it's going to be controversial to some people, and this is not an opinion, this is a fact. Melee is not designed to be a fighting game. It's not. That is why there are so many stupid rules, and, I get to know items thing, but there's so many stage restrictions, so many, glitches that you have to do to exploit shit. It's not like, it's like, yeah, Street Fighter 2 had some crazy shit, with Old Sagat and having faster recovery with his fireballs, But at the end of the day, Street Fighter 2 is still at its core a fighting game where you don't need to have a broken GameCube controller to function properly, or rely on an infinite to make your character good. So it just shows to me like why I don't like Melee. It's, if anything, or like why most people don't like Melee, because it relies on a lot of brokenness and a lot of stuff like that, and how the Melee community is so, not everybody, but they're so protective because they hate the fact that their game is not really a fighting game, and they're doing everything they can. And Melee can be competitive; it's been proven. Like I'm not saying it can't be, but at its core design, it was never meant to be that. And it just shows. And this is a good example of that. But yeah, learn another character, learn the matchup, understand where you're at, and don't throw your controller. Like don't act like you've been there before, man. Like I get it, you're salty. Being salty is like normal. I've seen salt. Like I mean, it's fine. But when you throw a controller, that's how I know you're still a 15-year-old boy who doesn't know how to handle a loss very well. But that was about it. Like anything, it put another negative light on Smash Melee, and just. A lot of people, and it put a lot of people like more jumping on the bandwagon to hate on it. To me, Melee does it themselves when they. And the thing is, they weren't even mad at the Ice Climber player. More people were mad at the Jigglypuff player, and they were like trying to create rules. One of the top players was like, "Well, maybe we should think about clipping a rule where, if Jigglypuff times out, Jigglypuff takes the L." I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? That's bullshit. Like, that's so stupid." Like, why are you punishing the Jigglypuff player who's playing the character the correct way? Or potentially, this is not official. This is their little clicks. Like it just makes no sense. Like, can you there were a couple of Street Fighter V tournaments last year where one of the players, there were several timeout games. Nobody booed. Nobody got mad. It was like, that's how you play the character. And if you can't get in, that's your fault. That's the Ice Climber player's fault for not picking Fox, because you pick Fox against Jigglypuff. Fox murders Jigglypuff. You know that. You have to know that. Like it boggles my mind. This whole thing is just so weird.
Why do you think people are so like all about Melee? The people that are, because I never understood it. Because I mean, like, yeah, cool. Like when it came out, I was like, oh, cool. It's like the next generation of Smash. But there's been several other Smash games after, and I don't know.
It's like. For some reason, they just it's somewhat similar to like people like there are some people who play Super Street Fighter 2, but I think there's just like a cult mentality with it now because
it must be
because I think it's because of how popular it is. Because I mean, Street Fighter 2 Turbo is still played, and there are
people that play Smash have Down syndrome. That's why.
God damn, I wasn't gonna say that. I don't think it's that. I think because like there are plenty of people who still play Super Turbo, right, and it's still competitive viable. But I think maybe it's because those guys are older and they know better. But I think you have it's probably true. I think it's because you have it's almost like these Melee players are put up on a cult like status. Like you any one ultimate Melee player speaks, and then like a whole squawk of their followers will speak the same thing. and for some reason no other game feels right, but yet every Street Fighter player I know, while they may say prefer a Street Fighter game, like say Super Turbo, Third Strike, whatever, Street Fighter 4, they'll go on to the next version and be fine with it. They may bitch and moan about it, but they'll move on. It's weird. I've never understood the neediness to hold on to Melee, considering how busted it is. Fox is the most broken character ever. In one of the most broken characters ever in fighting games. That character makes no sense of what it can do and how much damage it can do and all its movement abilities. It's so freaking stupid. Ban that character if you want to talk about bans. And I think it's because they're so, I'm going to say it, butthurt of people making fun of them because it's not a fighting game, and it's not. It was never designed to be.
Can't you trip in that game randomly?
No, that's Brawl. That's Brawl.
Brawl. Oh, okay.
And that's what I was going to say is that Smash Ultimate is the first Smash game where actually you can call it a fighting game somewhat, where there's mechanics to it and there's dodging, there's techniques to it. Because they incorporated it into its design. Melee doesn't have that. To do wave dashing, that's a glitch. That's a fucking glitch. Like.
All right, we gotta move on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's don't be salty. Learn the matchup. There you go.
I gave you your 10 minutes.
My bad.
Justin, let's get the show over with.
Yeah. I don't even know how to follow that. You can
just say fuck Melee.
If you Melee's trash. You can find me if you look up Zero Score. Just like Google it. And I am on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. You might find me on Reddit. I'm apparently famous for bad takes about Borderlands 3, according to that community.
Oh, jeez.
Or the Epic Store, I guess. But, you know, it was a Borderlands 3 thread.
Whoa.
You guys can find me on Twitter at Nero the Hero, N3R0, THEH3R0. You can also find me on YouTube, Nero the Hero, just spelled with letters. And you can find me here, Charge Shot, with these handsome gentlemen.
And Ben.
Twitter.com/Marvelous Iggy. It's been a while since I've done this. Twitter.com/Marvelous Iggy for all your anime titty needs.
All right, and you can find me, your host, Thomas, on Twitter, CSG Thomas on Twitter. You can also email me, thomas@chargeshot.com. Send me an email regarding a question for the show, and I'll read it on the air. You can also leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher or anywhere you can get your podcasts. We are on there. And until then, guys, enjoy your game.
Bye.
Bye.